welcome to WrestleWolf. I am Damian Gibson, and this is WWE Weekly, or WWE Weekly, even, where I watch all of the WWE Weekly shows so you don't have to. And there's some mixed results again this week. I used to do this for another podcast, and what I forget about WWE programming is that it is really, really similar week in, week out. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Raw. Get a few talking points here. One is around Raw Underground, and the other one is Randy and Drew going into SummerSlam. First of all, Underground, what is this? Right? Like, I don't hate it. I've been on the record of saying I don't hate the idea. It is something different, and having already complained about sameness every week, cool, something different, right? But it's been 3 weeks now, and there's been no it feels just completely made up on the spot. And not in a good way. Like, I'm sure, people could argue that it's meant to feel that way, and so, it's doing its job as a storytelling, vehicle. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's say that's what's trying to be portrayed to the viewer. Sweet. Who's being put over? Like Drew, and there's people in there now that I just like. Dolph Ziggler. I don't buy Dolph Ziggler as a badass who's hanging around in an illegal fight club in the basement of the Performance Center. It's hard enough for me to look past Shane McMahon being like the main ringleader of this. But also, at least this week we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler story start in Underground and then continue into Raw. Have it flow between the two shows, or the show within a show. But most of the time it's just, two people get up on the stage and they fight for no reason, and I just wonder, how long is this going to go on? I think again it's like one of these WWE things of like, oh well, got a reaction. John Cena used to come out and 50% of the audience, this is very much like the height of the summer of Punk, and even afterwards when with John Cena, where 50% of the audience would cheer, 50% of the audience would boo. And Michael Cole, without fail, every time would say, well, it doesn't matter what you think of John Cena, he always gets a reaction. And I never understood why you would bait the audience like that. Because yeah, okay, there's a rusted on element of fans who are going to show up and watch no matter what, and they're divided on this particular character. But meanwhile, your ratings are dropping every week. And it feels like, things like Raw Underground and the Thunderdome, whether they're good ideas or not, initially, as long as they're still getting a reaction, it doesn't matter. I want to see some plot, with Raw Underground. Or explain to me that there's not going to be plot. Like, oh, this just happens now, and it's like an alternative to Raw on Raw. Yeah. I don't know. I'm willing to give it some time. It's only been 3 weeks. Maybe, like I said, we saw some story happening with Shayna and Nia Jax on there this week. So maybe we'll get more of that. I don't hate it. I'm not completely slagging it off. I just want to see something come of it, whether it's linking it up with Retribution or whatever it might be. I just want there to be some end game to this, and there's so many times where there isn't with WWE, and I think that's what gets frustrating for me as a viewer, is that, you know, like, I want there to be payoffs for storylines, and there so often isn't. But anyway, we'll see. Drew and Randy continue their feud going into SummerSlam. I was almost convinced, I was 100% sure that Randy Orton was going to win at SummerSlam until this week. And I don't know whether, you know, Vince and Co have done a good job of swerving me. HBK, earlier in the episode, spoke to Drew McIntyre. They had a really good promo here where you really believed that HBK means something to Drew McIntyre. I think they're, there's times with this Randy storyline that, you know, it's been a bit of a long bow that Drew like had some sort of connection to any of these people, like with Ric Flair, for example. But Shawn Michaels really sold it, and so did Drew McIntyre. Really enjoyed this promo. At the risk of sounding like a negative Nelly, it did sort of point out that there's a lot of people on the roster who don't know how to cut a promo. I mean, I know Shawn Michaels is one of the best of all time, but it really shines a light on the lack of skills of some others when you see one of the best of all time doing it. And I'm not talking about Drew or Randy in this, just, you know, other people on the roster. So HBK went out to speak to Randy because he felt like he had to. That was never really sort of explained. He has a strong connection with Ric Flair, so he feels like he had to speak to Randy. Okay. It's a bit flimsy, but it's something. Randy comes out, tries to kill Shawn Michaels, punts him in the head. Drew McIntyre comes out. He doesn't quite kill Shawn Michaels the way that he had others, which makes me think that Shawn Michaels might get involved at SummerSlam. And the fact that Drew McIntyre basically ran Randy Orton off at first, I was like, oh, no, this means that Randy Orton's going to take the belt. But Randy did end up RKOing Drew as well. So, I don't know. The fact that Shawn's still around, Drew gets RKO'd on the Go Home show, I'm just getting a vibe that Drew McIntyre will retain. And that they're really going to push Drew McIntyre to the moon and back. Which I think is the right call. I really do. There was stories that came out a few weeks ago basically saying that Vince was looking to the future rather than the past as far as booking was concerned, and this would be a really good spot to start. There is this continuing story of Randy getting the belt so Edge can come back and take it off him, but I don't know. I know a lot of people would be happy if Randy won the belt at SummerSlam and he had a heel go at the belt, for want of a better term. But I just like, who goes up against him? Probably Drew McIntyre, right? Like, I trying to have a quick scan through the Raw roster. Yeah, he's the first and almost only person I can think of on that roster that would be good in the title picture. So I think Drew McIntyre's been magnificent in really difficult circumstances as the WWE champ, and I want to see more of it. And as we start talking about having fans back at shows and things like that, he has, he deserves the chance to be a champion in front of people. So we'll see. We'll be doing a SummerSlam show tomorrow night after it airs. So with Matt from the AEW and WCW show. He's going to watch a WWE show, and yeah, so that'll be cool. Be cool to get his his opinions on WWE, because they're usually not great. So could get some hot takes. Speaking of hot takes, we're at NXT. I'm going to try and be quick about this. I'll talk about Pat McAfee and Adam Cole first. Their promo was great. I have to roll back my opinion on this program. This angle, I thought it was going to be shit, for want of a better word. It's been good. It's been booked well. I mean, I did... look, I know I sound like a hypocrite. When McAfee punted Cole on the head, I said, and I still stand by it, that I think he looked weak, and getting upset about being called small, I think also made him look weak. You could have booked this angle and had McAfee be more of a dick like he was this week, and just have Adam Cole say, hey, look, you're out of order. You're in my house. Don't be a dick. I just thought him getting upset about being called short made him look really petty, McAfee's calling him short, and so he's the dick, but whatever. You know what I mean? You've been called short. God, get over it. You are, for a wrestler. But this promo by Pat McAfee, he's the best promo on WWE's roster, who's not on the roster. I was so engaged by this. Cole, maneuvering and murdering a whole bunch of security guards, made him look pretty strong as well. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens at TakeOver. You won me around. You've won me around, NXT. So something that has not won me around is Velveteen Dream being not only on this show, but beating Finn Balor in one of the biggest schmoz finishes I've ever seen in my life, and it was all booked in a way to try and make you not notice that Velveteen Dream won this match. And where do I even start with this? You haven't found any evidence. You haven't looked. Then, I know a lot of bigger podcasts are sort of, get where they're at. They're deciding not to really talk about this because of potential defamation cases, all that sort of thing. All I will say is that if you haven't found any evidence in regards to the allegations that were made during the Speaking Out movement, you haven't looked, because it takes about 2 minutes. How WWE think they're going to get past this in 2020, just it crushes my brain in thinking about it. I don't even know what to say. It's disturbing. I mean, what happens if we have Speaking Out? We have that moment as a fandom, as a profession, as wrestling, and all those people who have come forward. I know from personal experience when there are things that need to be said, and you're afraid of coming out and saying certain things, how terrifying it is to put yourself out there. All of these people have come out and been brave enough to share the horrible things that they've had to endure from wrestlers or people within the wrestling community, and it's just completely disregarded by WWE because there are people, well, there's someone on their roster who can make them money, potentially. It's as simple as that. And how they think that, the other thing as well is if we don't, if we stop talking about Dream, right, then it goes away. And WWE get what they want, which is for people to stop talking about it. And they think that we will, right? They think that we'll just eventually go, oh, look, I can't be bothered. They're not going to do anything about it, blah, blah, blah. The only way to send a strong message, really, is to not watch NXT until action's taken. So, that's what I would encourage you to do. I don't know. I'm probably getting myself in trouble here, but it is what it is. Smackdown Live. This was another solid ep. Everyone was interested in the Thunderdome. I think it works. I saw a lot of people being really negative about it. It is actually trying to engage, WWE actually trying to engage their fans and be safe at the same time. I think they've got to be applauded for this. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't, WWE want to get fans involved. They don't want to keep putting on a show to an empty arena, and I completely understand that. And this is, they must have invested a fair amount of time and infrastructure and money into trying to make this happen. And, good on them. I know there's been some technical glitches. I've spoken to some people who have said that that the feed that they were watching wasn't super great. That it was okay, but I'm sure they'll fix that up over time. I don't have anything negative to say about this. I think it looked kind of cool, you get some fans in there. It would be good if they were making a bit more sort of noise and stuff like that, but they can only do what they can do. So I thought this was cool. We had the Bray and Braun story continuing on. I'm actually really looking forward to this at SummerSlam. Bray Wyatt has the ability to make me interested in anything that he's doing, and this is no exception. I'm not usually that interested in anything Braun Strowman has going on. So this will be the second pay-per-view in a row where Bray Wyatt has made me want to watch a Braun Strowman match, and so well done. And we saw the beginning of the end for Bayley and Sasha, who they had a time-limited match. Essentially, both of them had to wrestle Naomi, and whoever beat Naomi in the quickest amount of time would wrestle Asuka first. Or whoever lost that stip would wrestle Asuka first at SummerSlam, because both of those ladies are wrestling Asuka at SummerSlam, if you weren't aware. Bayley lost to Naomi, which means that she has to face Asuka first, which really throws things around for me, because I was 100% sure that Bayley would retain and Sasha would lose. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're going to see the belt swap, like Raw on SmackDown and SmackDown on Raw, or it allows Asuka to go to SmackDown. I'm not sure, but I enjoyed all of this. This Asuka versus Bayley and Sasha thing has been really cool. Sasha and Bayley have been doing some great heel work for a long period of time now. It was also good to see Naomi getting involved in the picture. I liked all of this. SmackDown has been solidly good for a month now, and this episode was no exception. So I don't really have much else to say about WWE this week. Yeah, just cut your ties. Just cut ties, guys. With you know who, and I think everything will be all right. But yeah, we'll be doing a SummerSlam show tomorrow. I'm actually looking forward to that pay-per-view, and yeah, we'll be also putting out the same night WCW. Reconsidering WCW Nitro. There's our weekly AEW show, and then we'll be back next week with another episode of WWE Weekly. All right, thanks guys, stay safe.